Okay, so I am getting ready for a custom piece requested by my husband to do some dragon scales and kind of silver and blue. So I needed to mix up some colors. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit of my process for doing that. So what I have is I have all of my kind of colors sorted over here. So I'm gonna need to add those to my little cups here. And then I also have my mixture of my Behr 8300 and my JoSonja Gloss Varnish that I'll be using to mix those up. And then I have my bottle of JoSonja to help thin that down for some of the paints that might be a little bit thicker. So when I do my paints, this one's actually brand new, so I gotta open it all the way. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot, so I'm going to be doing a couple 6-inch tiles and probably a hex tile. So I just need a little bit. I don't need a whole lot of actual paint because I'm not mixing this up to hang on to it. So you can see for this one, I mean, I didn't put a whole lot in there, just a little tiny bit. I know I'm actually going to need to thin that down because it came from the tube, so it's already going to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to pre-add a little bit more of the JoSonja into that one. And I have my Decoart Sky Blue. This is the ready to pour, so it's already pretty thin usually, so I don't need a whole lot of that. And then I have, this is the Craftsmart in Pewter. That is a multi-surface metallic gray, but it's a dark gray. This is probably going to be a little bit thicker as well. A little, it's actually really pretty. Kind of like a blue, dark blue gray. Then I have Artist Loft in just regular gray. Again, I'm just gonna do a little tiny bit from the tube, so I don't need a whole lot. Then I have Ready to Pour in another shade of gray. These tend to be pretty thin. And then lastly, I have this Quaker gray. It's actually a really old one. It's a Delta Ceramacoat. So we're gonna see what this paint looks like because it's been a while since I've opened this one. But this one's got more of like a beigey kind of gray tone to them. Okay, so once I've added my paints, then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, number one, shake up my pouring medium a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bloop of each one into here before I mix. So I know Lisa Marvin and a bunch of them, they have really kind of consistent ratios. I really base mine on the consistency of the paint, so I don't measure other than I think, as Lisa Marvin calls it, a bloop. So I kind of bloop a little bit of the pouring medium in each one and see where I'm at with my consistency. And then it, with the JoSonja, if it's needed, most of the time it's the two paints that need the additional kind of thick or thinning out. Okay, so let's try those. And go ahead and mix up this first one. This was the Artist Loft Silver. And I added a little bit of the extra JoSonja, so you can see I actually got it to a pretty good consistency right away. So what you're looking for is you want it to run off, and I don't know if you can see this in the cup or not, but when it runs into the cup, you want it to leave the little mound for only about a second. You want it to not stay, but you don't want it to be super runny either. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna move on to my sky blue. That one looks pretty good as well. You can kind of see this one runs off pretty well. But my mound disappears pretty quick. All right, here's the Pewter metallic gray. You know, this one you can kind of you look at this one, it kind of bloops off of there, so that one's a little bit too thick. So I do need to add a tiny bit of JoSonja just to thin it out a little. So that it runs a little bit easier off. Much better. Yeah, that's pretty good now. So now you can see I get some pretty consistent running on there. And often if I were to let these sit for too long, they probably would thicken up a little bit. So probably have to thin them down some more, but I'm gonna use them right away, so it should be okay. I think this is the Artist Loft Gray. Again, this one was a tube, so you can see a pretty good glooping going on there. I'm also quite sure that I'm probably going to mix all of these grays up when I try to name them later, but it's okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. And let's see. This one is the Decoart Ready to Pour Silver, I believe. Oh no, Decoart Gray. That's what this one is. Not quite happy with that one. I thin that one just a tiny bit. There we go. So I will have to think about my layering with these since some of these colors are pretty close together. So I want to make sure that I layer the kind of dark and light so they don't blend too much. I'm realizing I'm missing a cup, so I'll grab that here in a second. Oh, that one's a little bit too thick also. Do this and I'll add a little bloop. The pouring medium. It's definitely more of like a lighter blue gray kind of silver, like that one. Okay. All right, so I have all my colors mixed. Set those off to the side, and I'm gonna come back and finish getting set up. Okay, so now we're back. So what I have here is I have a 6-inch tile. We're gonna kind of play around with a couple of different looks before I do the big one, because what he's really wanting is to have kind of the silver dragon scale with the bloom in the middle and do some marking on the outside to make it so you can actually attach a dragon eye in the middle. So we're gonna see how this is gonna go. But I'm actually gonna be using my Anchors Aweigh Color to Go as my base for this one. Oh gosh, if I can get it open. Okay, here we go. And then I might try, I think I'm gonna try this with a white base as well afterward, just to see what the looks look like. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with, I believe this is the Decoart Silver. It's kind of my first color. Then I'm gonna follow that up. This is with the Pewter. That's a metallic kind of gray. like a dark blue gray in there. Really want to sneak in some Prussian blue that my custom request has asked for it to be a silver dragon, not blue, so we'll see how this works. And I might play some more for it. Okay, here's where the light blue that I'm gonna have in here comes in. So I'm gonna do a little bit of sky blue. Okay, and this is the Artist Loft gray. Now for a little bit of shimmer, I have a couple of the silvers in here. I have my Michael's Recollections pigment powder. This is the iridescent or pearly kind of color that I've been calling it. So I'm gonna add a couple squiggles of that. Then this is the Quaker gray. Got kind of a beige kind of tint to it. And lastly, this is the other metallic silver. Okay, for my cell activator, I'm going to be using my Oxide black from Amsterdam mixed with Australian Floetrol. We're going to see what happens here. Definitely see more of the pillow paint poking through with this one. Not sure that's as silver as he wants it, but we'll see. Like that. Let's go ahead and spin it and let's see what this looks like. Wow, definitely got a bunch of the silvers there. I do need to spin it just a little bit more. Paint has still got a little bit of a wiggle to it. Oh, that's got a really pretty, actually like the dark blue background, but I think that's more blue than what he's gonna want, but we'll check for customer satisfaction here in a minute. You see there, lots of silvers. Actually had some pretty good contrast there. Okay, now I'm gonna try the same thing, but this time I'm gonna do it with my Gliddens Essentials in white. I'm gonna try really hard not to put any blue in that, but we're gonna try that and see what it looks like with the same kind of blue silver color combination. Take this off actually. I always put multiple layers on just so that way I can do exactly that. I'm gonna put on my shower caps. Also help put down the tile. There we go. Got these 6-inch tiles, just plain white ceramic ones from Home Depot. Put down my pillow paint. Okay, I'm gonna try the same order. We'll see what the difference is with the white pillow instead. There's the Decoart metallic silver and the Pewter. Here's the Artist Lofts gray. The sky blue. And I have that darker gray. Tiny bit of the pearl. I'm gonna be careful with the pearl because this actually has a little bit of like a pink hue to it, so I don't want pink to take over. Then I have the Quaker gray. And the silver. Okay, let's try with the black cell activator, and then I'm going to have my customer come over and take a look at the two. See which one he wants for the big hex tile. Definitely looks much more gray than the other one did. Okay, based on the nod from my customer, he's liking the white background better. Do need to spin it just a hair bit more. Tray, this guy. You can see for this one, got lots of little pretty lines of the silver with a couple just hints of the sky blue. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with that one for the big scale. So for the big one, I have my big hex tile, get stuck on there. And I'm gonna use my Gliddens Essentials paint on the pillow. I might need a little more wool. So I'm trying to drop stuff all over the place. Let's not do that. Spread this out a little bit because what I don't want is I don't want my paint to roll. I want it to slide. So I just want to make sure I get a pretty good coverage on the top of the tile. Okay, that should be pretty good. Okay, I'm going to do the same colors, same order that I did the last one. Here I have a little bit more paint since I have the bigger here. Here's the pewter. And the artist Loft's gray. Sky blue. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's kind of darker gray. Tiny bit of the pearl. Quaker gray. And a metallic silver around the end here. And a big bubble to go with it. Let's take pop the bubbles real quick. Okay. Then let's do black cell activator. Okay, here we go. All right, got some good cells gonna go in here. I'm gonna do my swiggles on the outside. Okay, let's spin her out, see what she does. It's always the exciting part when you slow it down for the first time to see how the colors behaved. I like that. Let's see if I can slide this. Oop, not the tile. See if I can slide the design over a little. Spin it just a little bit more. I think I like that. I have a couple bubbles that popped up. Make sure get the worst offenders. That I think looks pretty good. Get my tray. These tiles are much heavier and harder to unstick at first. Glad I have that big, you can see they're really pretty cells that I got. Lots of sparkle. Now, I'm going to do one more, just have a little bit of fun. Use another 6-inch tile with my white pillow. I did like all of the silvers. I'm going to add a little bit more color. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to start with some Prussian blue. And let's do those same silvers. A pewter gray. And one of my favorite pops of color. Hopefully this is not gonna be too overwhelming. I'm gonna use a little bit of the Ultramarine. I'm gonna put a whole bunch of grays on top of it and see if that can help kind of mute it down a little. But the Ultramarine is by far one of my favorite colors I've used so far. I love how it blends when it blends out. You know, that blue's not going to do me very much good along the edge there. Okay, let's see. I think I might actually skip the pearl on this one. Silver. And finally, the cell activator. Torch got paint all over my arm, that's fine. Yeah, this one is going to do a little bit of white, then black. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I really like the hints of the blue around the edge. Okay, let's see what this one looks like. Oh wow, that's really pretty with all the different layers of the grays. Hints of the blues kind of peeking out inside the cells. Yep, that's gonna do it. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Oh, except I'm noticing that I did not get full coverage on the side here. So I'm gonna scoop some up over here. And I missed some right here too. It's okay. I'm just gonna scoop and drag some in there. And give it a whirl some good. Get my last tray. You can see this one, the Ultramarine and the Pthalo kind of peeking out. That's super pretty, lots of sparkles with the silver. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be posting a video that shows the kind of final products of these, but appreciate your time with me.